What we like to do on this show is pick one scene from an artist's film and really dissect it and talk about it. There's one scene that I know you guys all love, and it's the introduction to the villain character in the sequel, El Macho. So let's take a look at it and we'll talk about what you all did.
Welcome to the Mall family. El Macho.
What?
But it couldn't be.
What couldn't be?
That guy looks exactly like a villain named El Macho from about 20 years ago. He was ruthless, he was dangerous, and as the name implies, very macho.
Heitor, I love what you did with the music, with the horns there. You're definitely nodding to a type of film of the past, are you not?
Yeah, and a culture too, right? It's like also the Mexican wrestler and as you said, the bravado of the horns, but all the ridiculous thing about it too. I'm crazy for Mexican music, principally the impossible one for anybody else in the world to play, which is like, you know, the banda music and even what they call the narco corridos, which is just any musician, if you ask them to play one note that strong, they would kill you for that because, you know, years and years of practicing, you prepare your embouchure to be exactly the opposite. And these guys are just like blasting, putting so much more air than necessary that a trumpet asks for. And on the other hand, it makes the instrument, you know, become kind of a monster. So for me, I needed to prepare the theme and the instrumentation of it in a way that was Mexican at first, to a degree. But it was going to turn into the big monster that he turns into it, and with his purple minions later on. So those trumpets became really like, you know, supported by the choir singing El Macho, you know, and the whole thing. So yeah, it was fun, you know, just.
And it must have been fun, Cinco, for you and Ken to come up with so many things of that character, particularly the most macho way to die.
He died in the most macho way possible, riding a shark with 250 pounds of dynamite strapped to his chest into the mouth of an active volcano. It was glorious.
Yeah, sounds like El Macho's pretty dead.
That was super fun. I know, remember it was kind of a struggle trying to figure out who is going to be the villain in our movie, and you know, we came up with a bunch of different possibilities, and then we landed on El Macho because Gru is kind of becoming a little feminized. You know, he dresses up as a princess, fairy princess at the beginning of the movie, and we thought, let's get the antithesis of that. And so it was so much fun to think of the most macho villain of all time, and especially, and I love just like the beautiful animation and the way they just like brought that to life. The way the manner of his death is awesome.
How about for you, Chris? What do you like about that? What do you like what the directors did with that?
Well,
sequence?
I think one thing, it starts with this description that Cinco and Ken wrote about El Macho. You know, died in the most macho way possible. You know, riding a shark with 250. You know, all that. That to me is. And I've never said this to you, but it is the single best description of a villain that I've ever heard in any movie. Seriously.
Ah, shucks.
And I think for Pierre and Chris, it all started, you know, with that description. And what they tried to then do is they tried to, you know, fulfill the tonal potential of, you know, what the guys had written. So, you know, very simply, it was a flashback, so you see they chose kind of this to evoke a feeling of like a sepia photograph. But then, there's an absolute sort of cartoon nature, and that is described there. And so they started to make choices where he was doing things that were just over the top in terms of their macho-ness. What he was doing with the snake and walking through the wall and picking up that truck, and all of it to support this idea that Cinco and Ken had described, which is, yes, we are going to see this guy riding a shark into the mouth of a volcano with dynamite strapped around. So to get to that place, they had to sort of build to it. And then when Aitor, sort of nailed it with that underscore, I think it absolutely is one of the filmmaking team's favorite sequences in the movie.
Well, I can see why. All the elements come together so great. Well, stay with us. We'll have more about Despicable Me 2 on Fandango Front.